Nation against nation, brother against brother.
Good evening and welcome to Deliverance Church Langata. This is the Biblical Perspective Program coming to you from the altars of the Deliverance Church Langata. And with me today in this program is Vincent Kimosop, who is an authority in areas of governance, in areas of economics, and he is also a very common feature in our main media houses. Karibu sana.
Thank you, sir.
Glad to
Same here,
that you could come.
Asante, asante.
Now, what I want us to address right now, which is in the minds of so many people, what informed the sharp increase in the fuel cost, and is there anything that could have been done to avoid Kenya reacting this way?
So we first of all, I think it is good to appreciate the rise in fuel prices.
Yeah.
We have factors that are internal.
Yeah.
And there are factors that are external.
This is it.
Then you also have things that the government has done, and some of them may not have yielded the results we expected, and I would explain each one of them. So when you, in terms of the external factors, the fuel prices globally have gone down in terms of marginally gone down. So, but you also have inflationary pressures that we are seeing locally and even internationally. Fuel prices have gone up in Ethiopia, in the UK. So
even in America.
So that because you see what happened, Bishop.
Yeah.
Is that when we went through COVID-19, what happened is that countries came out, factories, productions, as in was slowed down. Then, so you are not, there was no a lot of movement, there was not a lot, even in the aviation, restricted. Then people were told to stay home. But governments wanted to keep their people engaging and people feeding and eating. What did they do? They gave them money, including companies.
Yes.
So with that money, remember, there is no production. You've closed down factories.
Yes.
You're not engaging. But you're giving people money. So that money that you're giving people, like in the US, they printed money. So they printed more money, then you give people more money as stipend to be able to continue buying.
Yeah.
What does that money do? It piles up in the public.
Yeah.
Then you went through COVID-19, you started opening factories.
Yeah.
What do you have outside there?
Yeah.
You still have the money that you put into the public. The same in the UK, even in Kenya with the subsidies and the measures. So with the rise in money that's piling up in the public, what does that do? It puts pressure on goods that are available, because you have more money chasing a few goods.
A few goods.
So what does that do? It raises inflation. So what do governments do when inflation rises? That is when they deploy monetary tools. They increase interest rates so that instead of putting your money elsewhere, you buy government paper, so as to suck the money that is in the system. That's why interest rates in the US have gone up for the first time. They are at 5%. So that Americans can hold their dollar and then they take it, they sell it to government. Now, when that happens as a result of the rise, then the value of even your shilling begin to do what? To come down. So one of the things you have to appreciate, Bishop, is that so internally, let's look at, I think I've also explained about the COVID-19. Then you also have the Ukraine-Russia war.
Yes.
So that disrupted supply chains. Everybody was trying to say, hold to the little that you have.
Yes.
Then finally, we also add the issues of drought in Kenya and all that. Now, that is both external and the internal. At the internal level, let's look at the things that have led us to where we are at.
Yeah.
Bishop, I think one of the key contributors to the rise in terms of the rise of cost of the fuel, of the 100, let me see, 211, that's the cost of petrol, for example, you're looking at close to 79 shilling going to government taxes. So the landing price at 115 If you had, by the time you're doing 79, then the margins of those who are importing. So we need to possibly say there are things that the government cannot do, but there are things it can do. Like I think it will be, my recommendation is to relook at the issue of excise tax.
Yeah.
We have VAT that went up from 7% from 8% to 18% to 16%.
Yeah.
I think if government may not, because we are not producing oil, if we knock off, for example, that 8% rise and we restore back, there might be reprieve on the part of Kenyans. But I think the other thing that, the third thing I wanted to talk about in external, internal, and also internally, is I also think we have a failure in communication. Bishop, we discussed this the last time. I don't know if you are close to the president. There is a challenge of communication in government.
Now,
and this for me, I cannot belabor it anymore. Because you know, Bishop, if you come and explain to people, they have just explained to you, this is the global contribution, this is the local contribution, but this is the situation. What's going to happen, Bishop? People are going to understand.
Let me put it this way.
I hope I have
I think you have answered.
shed light on the three issues.
And for me, in terms of, I can't be able to say I'm close to the president or I'm not close to the president, because I can't pretend that I'm close, that I can pick a phone and call him and say, listen, why are you not looking at this? But there are people who can do that. And you yourself, your governor can do that.
Yes.
And you are close to your governor.
Yes.
So anyways, do what you can. But this is my issue. The Energy Petroleum Regulatory Authority says that the price adjustments comes in response to changes in the global oil market.
Yeah.
The average landed cost of imported super petrol increased with 4.80%.
Yes. Which came to?
From US $739.2 per cubic meter in July 2023 to US 774 in August. Okay, similarly, diesel recorded 12.52% increase, rising from 701.99 per cubic meter to US 789.89 per cubic meter. Kerosene, this is what the most seriously affected. Kerosene experienced to significant 19.79% increase, climbing from 690.58 cubits to 827 per cubic meter. Now, you have gone back to the issue of communication.
Yes.
The current minister for
tourism. Energy. It should be.
No, I'm saying the current minister for, I think it should be tourism.
That's
Mutua. I'm talking about Mutua.
Mutua is foreign affairs.
Foreign affairs, okay, foreign affairs is what I wanted to say. He became what he is from becoming a government spokesman.
Yes.
During the Kibaki administration.
Yes.
That is when he came to the REM, right?
We would understand.
My question has remained, and I've raised these questions even in some other quarters. I've actually raised this question with a very prominent member of the UDA party. Where is the government, the UDA government spokesman?
The Kenya Kwanza administration.
The Kenya Kwanza administration, the Kenya Kwanza, that's what
the advertisement went out.
Because even if the advertisement,
I think the interviews were done by the Public Service Commission. Then we just don't know why they are not making that decision.
Because let me tell you,
because this is under the Ministry of Information and Communication.
Let me tell you, this is so urgent.
It should happen like yesterday.
You see, but before the people go to the street, because they don't know what has happened.
Yes.
Somebody, even before the increase was done,
we should have gone
and prepared the people and tell them, listen, this is what we have.
And this
Please,
is the situation.
In the next 1 week,
we are
going to review
the fuel
the fuel cost because of this reason.
And you know the challenge is that's there's somebody once told me where communication stops, imagination take over. And the problem with imagination, you have no control. Do you know that lacuna of a government lack of government effective government communication is now filled with misinformation.
This is it.
The issues of social media.
Yes.
You have digital platforms that want to get a lot of clickbait, so they just pick one issue. The point is, I think if we can be able to say boldly, I think this is the time whereby the government must accelerate that and get a qualified person, somebody who has credibility,
and
somebody who is able to understand
who is very effective in communication,
and also who can connect with the masses.
Yes,
be able to speak English, Swahili, and be able to and give example. Because I've explained to you, Bishop, you are a family man.
Yeah.
And the truth of the matter is that there are very good times in your family. There are also challenging times.
Yes.
What is it that sets you apart? Is the ability to, in the high times, you are effective in communication.
Yeah.
And also in the low moments, says that, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time we're paying school fees. We cannot go on holiday. All the money is directed towards paying your school fees because we need to secure your future. So please, if you see me not being as generous towards money for holidays and having fun, I'm directing because we need to educate people. They are human beings. They be able to understand. We explain this to children at the age of 5. What about Kenyans will be able to understand? I also think I think it's also good to point out that those who've been given responsibility in government have a responsibility to appreciate that they cannot speak like anyone else because they have the authority. I was listening to a former cabinet secretary in a clip that was shared. I felt she was saying it. I think it was Cicely, and she was saying, "This is be emotionally sensitive, be understand." But again, I was lost for words because that was not what I was seeing while she was in office. So you see now, but since we have these ones who are in office, so to all our cabinet secretaries, please appreciate your words carry authority, and therefore let's be sensitive and responsible in our utterances, both offline and online, in person, and also even the way we carry ourselves. Because at times, I'll tell you, Bishop, it's not that people don't know that there are tough times, but they would want you to inspire hope when it is required.
This is it.
Anyway, I hope you have gotten me. I also wanted to say, Bishop, is that we also need to appreciate that because we import in dollars, our currency has also had a dip.
Oh, let me tell
now
you,
you're looking at an exchange rate of 145 to the dollar.
Yeah.
So you see that also affects your
and if you are buying, it's actually higher than that.
And I think one of the advantages of the framework of the government to government is the G2G. Framework is that in terms of stabilizing the pressure on a monthly basis to accumulate close to $500 million to be able to purchase a fuel by the oil marketers. You see that gives them lead time. So I would want to say at times policies are tried. Some of them may work, but if we would communicate effectively and connect Kenyans, get to understand even the whole issues of the slide of the shilling. What are the pressures?
This is it.
And the advantages. Whereas, for example, we may be paying more for imports, but for those who are exporting, they are happy. I can tell you, for example, to the tea farmers in this country, wait for this year when bonus will be announced. It will be a lot of money. Because if you're selling at 120, your coffee, when you are agreeing with the farmer, do you know what happens? The shift from 120 to 200 to 140, that is what will constitute the bonus.
Wow.
So there are benefits, particularly for those who are exporting. And that's why now we need to do more to strengthen our agricultural sector so that then we can be able to benefit because we are having a dip when it comes to imports, a dip when it comes to the issues of repayment of our debt. I've just seen the report from the Controller of Budget that our repayment of debt as at June has crossed the 1 trillion mark. So you can see the pressure that you have from what you're collecting. If you're collecting 2.6 trillion, 1 trillion already is out.
Wow.
So it is not an easy time, but I can tell you that is what differentiates leaders. What we need, Bishop, is a leadership that is emphatic. What we need is a communication that connects, explains, but does not run away. But also the hope that inspires that we are doing something about it. You saw the other thing. I don't know if you still recently just arrived into the country. There was this recruitment of 350 people by KDF. In Embakasi, 7,000 young people turned up. That's another thing that also needs our focus.
Yes.
Youth unemployment is a reality. And
Wow.
this is, so the appeal that I make to the leadership, Bishop, is focusing on the issue of young people. I'm happy at least with the sectoral focus on SME, sectoral focus on the issues of the digital economy, the agricultural sector. In progressively something will yield towards these young people. But that communication again is something I wish we can do more, we can do better, so that then we can position this country increasingly on the trajectory of hope, the trajectory of recovery, the trajectory of also a better and a more hopeful future. Yes.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yes, Bishop.
What is it? I've heard the recommendation you have in terms of how the government can cushion the challenge of the fuel cost.
Yes.
Because the problem with the fuel cost, it's not just a
affects-
question of fuel. It
there's-
aggravates
There's
other...
it's a contributor.
It's
in
a contributor,
agriculture, in every sector, transportation. So significantly
In production.
it impacts, like even, like if you are a farmer, it's good the government has reduced the cost of fertilizer to 2,000, but you know a farmer requires to farm using diesel.
Yeah.
So those are things that then they go hand in hand, so that then we are able to facilitate the production we would want to have.
My thinking right
Yes,
now,
Bishop.
if I were to make an appeal,
Yeah.
a humble appeal to the Kenya Kwanza administration, especially the president as he returns from his trip, is to go back and review where can we get resources
To
cushion the average Kenyan who is struggling to get some energy to cook. Because again,
we have opportunities. For
Yeah.
example, under the energy sector, you have the Petroleum Stabilization Fund.
Yes.
So that, for me, would be an entry point for the government.
Yeah.
We could also consider reviewing our excise, taking it back to 8%.
Yes.
For as we wait for recovery. I think the other thing that I also see is that, because that will be on the part of fuel,
Yes, yes.
is also relooking at the issue of our debt, reevaluating our debt, particularly on which ones do we need to retire, the most expensive ones, and also possibly renegotiating some of this or reprofiling this debt. Because now, you see, when you're directing more money towards debt repayments, it means less and less money is being spent towards what? Towards development or providing basic and social services.
what are we doing? Is it, I know the president, when he went to Paris
Yes.
Club, he made a very passionate appeal
On the international financial...
on the international financial institution
architecture.
to schedule the repayments to allow Kenya to be...
So those are
nobody
part of-
responded.
so I think one of the things that it takes time, because the system was created without the South being significantly involved in it. But I'll tell you, Bishop, that one of the things we have to do is that we need to continuously engage in these processes, engage these institutions. The benefit of our country, Bishop, is that we know our problems.
Yeah.
We know the possible solutions. We
Yes.
have a leadership in place. And the members of the public are also engaged in contributing towards seeking solutions for the things that are concerns us. I'm happy at the moment that we have the bipartisan talks. That ensures that politically, the political political pressure towards what we have is defrayed. So that may sort out on the issue of the IEBC, that may sort out on the issues of the political reopening of the political space. Because if we were dealing with what we're dealing, Bishop, and an environment of maandamano, it would have been even more difficult. So at least thank God for the wisdom that the current political class have had to resolve their issues outside the public space, so that then we are able to then focus on the things that the public are concerned.
I'm looking at the outstanding domestic government securities as percentage of GDP.
Yes.
And it's very interesting to see the kind of variations that are reported. It's been very, in terms of obtaining a degree of stability, things seems to have been very, very different ones. And of course, what the table from Central Bank Securities has a comparison of different countries and so many things. But my main concern is this. How is our revenue collection? Because I've said many times.
The revenue collection by KRA? I think KRA, in my view, if I going by the last statement, is actually on the right trajectory.
Okay.
What is required, in my view, is more support, particularly on towards education. I'm happy that there is a shift towards rebranding it from an authority to a service, so that then you have tax morale. Getting people to it is not a fight. It is we facilitate you. You have an issue with your taxes. We will work with you towards
to see what
aligning. No, that way, what we from a culture whereby we own this country. I think, Bishop, one of the things that I feel, if more efforts are directed towards getting people to own the country, and I blame the politicians on this, because the politicians have put in a wage where it looks like this country belongs to other people. This is our home, Bishop. And we don't have any other. So I think what, in my view, KRA needs to also focus on is just innovative ways of onboarding people who are in the Juakali space towards tax compliance. This focus so much that towards people who are already on a pay slip and all that is also lazy in some extent. I also think Parliament needs to review some of the things that we levy as excise. We levied excise including bank transactions. Excise ordinarily ought to be used to levy bad things like consumption of things that have negative externalities like alcohol, cigarettes, and pollution. We also need to look at I think we need to look at corporate tax, Bishop. We just keep it as low as possible. I think now we're doing between 30 and 35. I need to check the facts. But so that also it is, you incentivize the private sector to invest and to deploy more. But the other thing that we may also need to have a discussion on, Bishop, is the cost of credit. Currently, you're looking at credits being above, you're borrowing at a rate of close to 16%, Bishop. That still remains to be expensive because within a year, you're doing 16%. What kind of a business that gives you that level of high return? So access to credit would also be important, because we are competing again with the government, which of course is a more secure investment in any day for any business. So that leads to the crowding out of the private sector when it comes to investment. So when you combine all those tools, I think we should be able to be on the right trajectory, Bishop.
Well, I think we're almost out of time.
Yes, Bishop.
From where you stand,
yes.
Do you feel like the current registrators are focusing on what is to the benefit of the Kenyan citizenry, or are they still keeping politics in the House debates?
I think we need to give credit where if you listen to the conversation in the country, there is a shift.
Yes.
Beyond the Mandamano space, the politics, the IEBC server, by and large, there is a lot of conversation on issues that affect Kenyans. I look at the governor in Nairobi in terms of our discussion around things like a feeding program. You see, that what does that do? It stabilizes and supports parents and also ensures that you have children attending. We are discussing about reforming the funding model, about our education system. We a review of our curriculum. There is a conversation on reviewing salaries of public servants. There is a general conversation on issues that affect the people. So at times, one of the challenges, Bishop, is that we tend to give a lot of headlines to small issues that are happening. Look, the president came out publicly and said that he does all the county governments already their monies that are on time. I think that's something that needs to be celebrated.
That was so commended. But you know, that was not that was not celebrated. That was not highlighted.
No, that's why I'm
only
saying,
a few people spoke about it.
Because we are monitoring policies. We are looking at what's happening. That's why we're able to highlight. Bishop, it has never happened. Even governors themselves say this is a surprise to us. What does that
also mean? The employment of how many? 56,000?
I'm just giving you all
teachers?
I think 38,000 teachers employed.
Yeah.
That is somebody's life that has been changed. The largest single uptick of employment of teachers. That's why unions we also that will also be followed up by employment of 100,000 community health promoters.
Yes.
So there are good things, Bishop.
Registering farmers.
You see,
so that farmers can do the platform.
I'm just coming slowly. I was going sector.
I'm looking at the time.
Oh, I see. I am always available. So saying there are good things that are happening that needs to be given prominence. We have given a lot of premium to politics. I think we need to reduce that. It has its place. I'm not denying it needs to be given its place. So I think, Bishop, by and large, we may not be there, but I am a very big optimist. I give the government the support it requires. I give my reviews and recommendation when it is required using the avenues that are available. But by and large, whereas we may not be there or out of the woods, but we are on the right trajectory, Bishop.
For me, I'd like to take this opportunity to commend the leader of the opposition for assuring Kenyans that he's not planning to recall Mandamano, at least from what I heard. And the people, regardless of what happens, the 30-some people who died because of the previous Mandamanos, those lives are lost. It's uncalled for. I also want to commend you know, the emphasis that the president has continued to make, that all of us need to figure how are we going to be involved in nation building. It is not the work of government to build the nation, to build the nation, but it's the responsibility of all of us, those in government, those not in government. All of us need to know how are we going to be responsible citizens to strengthen what needs to be strengthened, to build a nation where values are considered important. And that's why, whether it's in the judiciary, I commend that those who make judgments, let them be value-based. It is very, very important that justice will be seen to be done. And with that, we come to the close of this conversation. I pray that God bless Kenya, and may God continue to give wisdom to our president and his administration for the welfare of all Kenyans.
Amen.
Lord, we pray that you be with us, even as we continue to reflect on the things that we have shared in this program. And we pray that God's wisdom will prevail for those in government, because you have put them there to guide people and to continue to keep hope alive. We thank you in Jesus' name.